The reckoning begins. The quantum stealth suit clung to Commander Maya Chen's body like a second skin as she perched on the edge of a towering crystalline spire. Below her stretched the sprawling capital of the Vexari hegemony, its twisted architecture bathed in the eerie glow of 3 moons. The alien metropolis pulsed with life, utterly unaware of the 5 shadows that moved across its skyline with impossible grace. Status report, Maya whispered into her neural comm, her voice calm despite the thundering of her heart. For this moment, this mission, she had trained her entire life. Perimeter secure. No patrol activity detected, replied Lieutenant Dax, his voice a steady anchor in her ear. Extraction point confirmed and standing by, added Specialist Lena, the team's pilot. Maya nodded, though none of her team could see the gesture. This is it. 3,000 years of waiting. 3,000 years of rebuilding, remembering, and planning. Tonight, we get answers. The 5-member team moved like liquid across the alien cityscape, their advanced suits bending light around their forms. Human ingenuity had flourished in exile, driven by the burning need to one day face their destroyers as equals. Their technology now rivaled, perhaps even surpassed, that of the Vexari, though the aliens remained blissfully ignorant of this fact. Central Archives ahead, reported Sergeant Tristan, the team's tactical specialist. Entrance point identified. The Central Archives of the Vexari hegemony, a repository of knowledge spanning 50,000 years of history. Somewhere in its vast databanks lay the truth about Earth's destruction, a truth hidden from most Vexari themselves. Remember, Maya said as they assembled on a balcony overlooking an ornate entrance, we're ghosts. We find the records, extract the data, and disappear. No confrontations unless absolutely necessary. Dr. Elias, their xenohistorian and translator, readied his specialized equipment. According to intelligence, records from the Great Purge would be in the restricted section, deep below ground level. Maya checked her chronometer. We have exactly 4 hours until the sun rises. Let's move. The team bypassed the archive's external security with ease, the product of centuries of careful intelligence gathering and study of Vexari technology. Inside, the vast halls stretched endlessly, shelves of crystalline data structures glimmering with stored knowledge. Magnificent, breathed Elias, momentarily forgetting their mission in the face of such an intellectual treasure trove. Focus, Maya reminded him. Restricted section. Look for anything classified from 3 millennia ago. They descended through the archive, level by level, the air growing colder and the security measures more sophisticated. Tristan worked methodically, disabling sensors and locks with devices specifically designed to counter Vexari tech. Commander, called Lena after nearly an hour of searching. I think I found something. They gathered around a sealed doorway bearing ancient Vexari script. Elias ran his scanner over the symbols, his expression darkening as the translation appeared on his heads-up display. Repository of Extinction Events, he translated. Classify by order of the High Archon Council. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. Open it. Tristan worked in silence, his fingers dancing over the alien lock mechanism. Sweat beaded on his forehead, despite the environmental controls of his suit. Security is much tighter here. This might trigger. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Alarms. He finished, looking surprised. That was too easy. Stay alert, Maya ordered, weapon ready as they entered. Unlike the rest of the archive with its neat organization, this chamber was smaller and appeared deliberately isolated from the main systems. At its center stood a single holographic projector. No network connection, noted Elias as he scanned the room. This data is kept entirely separate from their main archives. Can you access it? Maya asked. Elias approached the central console, connecting his specialized interface. Yes, but it will take time. Their encryption is unlike anything I've seen before. You have 30 minutes. The rest of you, secure the perimeter. While her team took up defensive positions, Maya paced the small chamber, studying the few physical artifacts displayed in recessed alcoves. Most were incomprehensible to her, strange devices and crystalline structures whose purposes she could only guess at. "Commander," called Elias after 20 tense minutes, "I've breached the first level of security. I'm getting images, records. His voice faltered. Maya moved to his side, watching as the holographic display flickered to life, showing images that made her blood run cold. Earth, her ancestral home that she knew only from historical archives, appeared in perfect detail. Blue oceans, swirling white clouds, the green and brown of continents. Then came the recordings of Vexeri Council sessions from 3,000 years ago. "The humans advanced too rapidly," stated an ancient Vexeri, its 4 eyes blinking in what Maya now recognized as agitation. "Their neural architecture allows for creative leaps our scientists cannot predict or understand. They have progressed from primitive flight to rudimentary space travel in less than 2 centuries," added another council member. "At this rate, they will achieve interstellar capability within another 100 years. And their biological adaptability," interjected a third voice. "They survive environments that would kill most sentient species. They thrive on challenge." The high archon of that era rose, its ornate robes glittering under the council chamber lights. "The predictive models are clear. If humanity reaches the stars, they will eventually overtake us. The hegemony has never faced a species with such dangerous potential." Maya watched in stunned silence as the ancient council debated the fate of her species, not out of hatred or for resources or territory, but out of fear. Fear of what humanity might become. "The decision is made," the High Archon finally declared. "Earth will be sterilized as a preventative measure, for the safety and continued supremacy of the hegemony." Only a minority of counselors registered objections, quickly overruled. The next recordings showed the aftermath. The Vexeri fleet departing the Sol system, leaving behind a devastated Earth. They believed they had eliminated humanity entirely, unaware that small colonies on Mars and the Jovian moons had already been established. Colonies that would go into hiding, that would eventually flee the solar system using experimental technology, that would spend 3 millennia remembering, rebuilding, and planning their return. "Download everything," Maya ordered, her voice tight with emotion. "Every record, every decision, every name." As Elias worked to extract the data, an unexpected sound froze them all in place, the soft tapping of footsteps approaching the chamber. "Someone's coming," hissed Dax from his position near the door. Maya signaled the team to take defensive positions, her weapon raised. If they were discovered now, the entire mission, perhaps the future of humanity, would be compromised. The footsteps stopped just outside the door. A moment of silence followed. Then a single Vexeri entered, smaller than average, wearing the distinctive robes of the scholarly caste. 4 eyes widened in shock at the sight of the armed humans. Before the alien could cry out, Maya had her weapon pressed against its throat. "One sound, and you die," she whispered, the translator converting her words to the sibilant Vexeri language. To her surprise, the alien responded in perfect, unaccented human English. "You are humans. After all this time, you survived." Maya pressed the weapon harder against the Vexeri's throat. "How do you know our language?" "I am Kalen, head archivist of historical sciences," the Vexeri replied calmly despite its precarious position. "I have dedicated my life to studying your species, the true history, not the propaganda our government teaches." "Commander," interrupted Elias. "Download complete. We need to move." Maya kept her weapon trained on the archivist. "Give me one reason why I shouldn't kill you right now." "Because I can help you escape," Callan replied. "Security detected your intrusion 5 minutes ago. They are currently locking down the upper levels. I know another way out." As if to confirm the Vexeri's words, a distant alarm began to sound. "It could be a trap," warned Tristan. Kalen's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "If I wanted to trap you, I would have triggered the chamber's internal security system the moment I entered. Instead, I came alone. Maya made a split-second decision. Lead the way. But understand, one wrong move, and you won't live to regret it. The Vexari nodded and moved to a section of wall that appeared identical to the rest. Long, six-fingered hands pressed a complex sequence, revealing a hidden passage. This way, it leads to my private research laboratory. The team followed, Tristan keeping his weapon trained on their unexpected guide, as they navigated narrow maintenance tunnels rarely used by the larger Vexari. Why would you help us? Maya demanded as they moved. Because what my ancestors did to your world was unforgivable, Callan replied, voice heavy with what sounded remarkably like shame. A genocide based on fear rather than fact. Some of us have always known this truth. They emerged into a spacious laboratory filled with screens and strange equipment. Callan quickly secured the door behind them and moved to a control panel. This room is shielded from surveillance. We can speak freely here. To Maya's astonishment, the screens around the laboratory displayed images of Earth, not destroyed Earth, but Earth as it had been before the attack. Beautiful landscapes, cities, and people going about their lives. I have spent my life studying your world, Callan explained, gesturing to the images. Your art, your music, your literature, what little survived in our records. Your species was magnificent, creative, resilient. You were never the threat they claimed. Then why destroy us? Asked Elias, unable to keep the bitterness from his voice. Fear, Callan said simply. And arrogance. The Vexari have ruled this sector for 50,000 years. We were comfortable in our superiority. Then we discovered Earth. The archivist's eyes seemed to grow sad. We had never encountered a species that advanced so quickly. It terrified our leaders. Maya studied the alien carefully. You know why we've come. Vengeance, Callan stated, and I cannot blame you. The laboratory fell silent, only the soft hum of equipment breaking the tension. We came for justice, Maya corrected, and to ensure it never happens again. Callan moved to another console, 4 hands working quickly over the controls. Then you should know that the current High Archon has recently uncovered evidence that some humans may have survived. They are preparing a new expedition to search for any remaining colonies. Maya exchanged alarmed glances with her team. Their hidden fleet, gradually assembled over centuries, was substantial but not yet ready for open warfare with the hegemony. When? She demanded. The expedition launches in 3 days, Callan replied. I can give you the details. Fleet composition, command codes, planned search patterns. Why would you betray your own people? Dax asked, suspicion evident in his voice. Callan's expression was difficult to read with alien features, but the conviction in its voice was unmistakable. Because I believe in truth, because genocide is never justifiable, and because I believe your return may be the best thing that could happen to my people. This statement shocked Maya. Explain. The hegemony has grown stagnant, Callan said. We no longer innovate or explore as we once did. The fear that led to Earth's destruction, fear of your potential, your creativity, has turned inward. We now fear change itself. The archivist gestured to the images of Earth. Perhaps humanity is exactly what the galaxy needs. Maya considered the Vexari's words carefully. If what Callan said was true, their mission parameters had just significantly changed. The immediate threat to the remaining human population took priority, but this unexpected ally opened new possibilities. We need to report back immediately, she decided. And we're taking you with us. Callan showed no surprise at this announcement. I expected as much. There is a transport bay 2 levels below us. I can authorize a small craft for scientific expedition purposes. Will it get us past the orbital defenses? Tristan asked. With the proper codes, yes, Callan confirmed. Maya activated her comm. Lena, change of plans. Meet us at the secondary extraction point. We have a passenger and new intelligence. As they prepared to move out, Maya found herself looking again at the images of Earth that decorated the laboratory. For 3,000 years, humanity had lived with the burning question of why their homeworld had been destroyed, why they had been forced into hiding among the stars. Now they had their answer, and with it came both clarity and complication. The Vexeri had feared human potential so much they committed genocide to prevent it. Now, 3 millennia later, their worst fears had come true. Humanity had survived, had grown stronger in the crucible of adversity, and had returned. And now, the next chapter in this ancient conflict would be written not by fear, but by the choices Maya and her team made in the coming days. "Let's move," she ordered. "The Human Restoration Council needs to hear what we've learned. The price of vengeance." The observation deck of the human restoration vessel, Mimosine, offered an unparalleled view of the fleet. Hundreds of ships gathered in the shadow of a nameless gas giant, hidden from Vexeri detection systems. The assembled armada represented 3 millennia of careful planning, construction, and sacrifice. Each vessel incorporated technology reverse-engineered from Vexeri designs, then improved upon by generations of human scientists driven by the memory of a lost homeworld. Commander Maya Chen stood before the 7 members of the Human Restoration Council, the highest authority remaining to their species. Behind her, displayed on a massive holographic projection, played the evidence recovered from the Vexeri archives. Earth will be sterilized as a preventative measure for the safety and continued supremacy of the hegemony. Maya terminated the playback, allowing silence to fill the chamber. The council members, men and women chosen to represent the various survivor colonies, sat motionless, many with tears streaking their faces despite their otherwise stoic expressions. 3,000 years, whispered Counselor Isamu, the eldest among them. 3,000 years wondering if we somehow provoked them, if perhaps we were the aggressors, and our histories had been altered. His weathered hands clenched into fists. And the truth is they simply feared our potential. Not just our potential, Maya corrected. Our creativity, our adaptability. Qualities the Vexeri apparently lack. Admiral Khalid, head of the military branch, leaned forward. What of this archivist? Can it be trusted? On cue, Kalen was escorted into the chamber under heavy guard. The Vexeri showed no fear despite being the first of its kind to stand before humanity's leadership in 3 millennia. 4 eyes scanned the assembled council with evident curiosity. "I understand your suspicion," Kalen said, addressing the council directly. "But I assure you, had I wished you harm, I would not have helped Commander Chen escape with the evidence. The archivist has provided us with critical intelligence," Maya added, "including details of an imminent Vexeri expedition to search for human survivors. They suspect we exist, though they have no idea of our true numbers or capabilities." This announcement sent a ripple of concern through the council. Admiral Khalid's expression darkened. "How imminent?" 2 days now," Maya replied. "The expedition fleet is gathering above the Vexeri homeworld as we speak." "Then we have no choice," the admiral stated firmly. "We must strike first, destroy their expedition fleet before it can depart, then withdraw back into hiding until we're fully prepared for open war." Several councilors nodded in agreement, but Councilor Ilara, representative of the Europa colonies, raised her hand. "Before we commit to military action, I want to hear more from our guest." She turned her penetrating gaze to Callan. "You say you've studied our history. Then you know we were not a perfect species. We had our own wars, our own cruelties. Yet you betray your people for us. Why?" Callan stepped forward, moving with the distinctive fluid grace of the Vexeri. "Because extinction is too high a price for imperfection, Counselor. Yes, humanity had flaws, as do the Vexeri. But your species also possessed something mine has lost: the capacity for fundamental change." The archivist's 4 hands moved in complex patterns, activating a data crystal that projected new images, charts and graphs incomprehensible to most humans present. These are societal development metrics spanning 50,000 years of hegemony rule, Callan explained. Notice the pattern: early rapid advancement followed by plateauing across all fields: technological, philosophical, artistic. The Vexari reached our peak 20,000 years ago and have remained essentially unchanged since. Stagnation, murmured Counselor Izamu. Precisely, Callan confirmed. We maintain our technology, but no longer truly innovate. We administrate our vast territories, but no longer explore. The hegemony has become a preservation society rather than a civilization, dedicated to maintaining what is, terrified of what might be. Maya found herself fascinated despite her lingering distrust. And you believe humanity is different? I know it is, Callan replied with certainty. Even facing extinction, scattered across unfamiliar stars, your people continued to adapt and evolve. In 3,000 years, you've rebuilt from nearly nothing to the point where you can challenge the species that destroyed your own world. Admiral Khalid was unmoved. A fascinating anthropological discussion, but it changes nothing. The Vexari destroyed Earth. They're now searching for our remaining populations. We must act immediately. I agree, we must act, Maya said, surprising herself with her intervention. But perhaps not as the Admiral suggests. All eyes turned to her. The Vexari committed genocide based on fear of what we might become, she continued, choosing her words carefully. If we strike now, destroying their expedition fleet without warning, we merely confirm their worst suspicions about us. We become the vengeful destroyers they feared. What do you propose instead, Commander? Asked Counselor Ilara. Maya drew a deep breath. A surgical operation. I'll lead a small team to infiltrate the Vexari High Command and confront the Archon directly with the evidence of what their ancestors did, and proof that humanity survived despite their efforts. We offer them a choice: peaceful coexistence or conflict. Admiral Khalid scoffed. You expect them to choose peace when they committed genocide out of fear. I expect nothing, Maya replied firmly. But I know what we become if we don't at least try. We spent 3,000 years rebuilding, remembering Earth. If we respond with indiscriminate violence, we dishonor that memory. The council chamber erupted in debate, arguments flowing back and forth. Maya stood silently, aware of Callan watching her with an unreadable expression. Finally, Counselor Isamu raised his hands for silence. Commander Chen's proposal has merit, but it carries extreme risk. If the mission fails, we lose the element of surprise. My team is prepared for that risk, Maya stated. After hours of further debate, the council reached its decision. Maya would lead a covert mission to infiltrate the Vexari High Command, while the fleet prepared for either peaceful contact or immediate military action, depending on the outcome. As the meeting adjourned, Callan approached Maya. Your counsel is wiser than I dared hope. Don't mistake caution for weakness, she warned. I make no such mistake, the archivist replied. But I do recognize courage when I see it. 48 hours later, Maya found herself once again in a quantum stealth suit, this time moving through the ornate corridors of the Vexari High Command complex. With her were Dax and Tristan, while Elias and Lena remained with their ship, disguised and docked at a commercial spaceport. Helen moved ahead of them, using legitimate access codes to bypass security checkpoints. The archivist had insisted on accompanying them despite the danger. The Archon's private chambers are ahead, Callan whispered as they reached the highest level of the towering complex. At this hour, she will be alone, reviewing reports before the expedition launch ceremony. Maya checked her weapons, non-lethal but effective, and the specially prepared data package she carried. Remember, we're not here for revenge. We deliver the message, present the evidence, and extract. The fleet will handle whatever comes next. Dax and Tristan nodded, though Maya could read the tension in their postures. For soldiers raised on stories of Earth's destruction, standing in the heart of the enemy's command center required extraordinary discipline. Callan approached an ornate doorway inscribed with ancient Vexari symbols. I can get you inside, but my presence will immediately raise suspicions. The Archon knows my views on our history. Then wait here with Tristan, Maya decided. Dax and I will handle the conversation. The doors slid open silently, revealing a spacious chamber dominated by a massive holographic display of the hegemony's territories. Before it stood a single Vexari, taller than Callan, wearing the elaborate ceremonial armor that marked the High Archon. Maya and Dax slipped inside, their stealth technology rendering them invisible until the doors closed behind them. Only then did Maya deactivate her camouflage, appearing seemingly from nowhere just meters from the most powerful Vexari in the galaxy. The Archon spun around, four eyes widening in shock, not just at the sudden appearance of intruders, but at their unmistakably human form. Impossible, the Archon whispered in the Vexari language. Clearly not, Maya replied in the same tongue, her translator perfect after years of study. The Archon recovered quickly, reaching for what must have been an alarm panel. Dax appeared beside her, his weapon trained steadily on the alien ruler. That would be unwise, he said calmly. The Archon's hand froze. How did you get in here? What are you? You know exactly what we are, Maya said, stepping closer. We are what your ancestors tried to exterminate 3,000 years ago. We are humanity. The Archon's posture shifted subtly, from surprise to calculation. Humans are extinct. Earth was sterilized in accordance with hegemony security protocols. Earth was destroyed, Maya corrected, but humanity survived. We've spent 3 millennia rebuilding, remembering, and waiting for this moment. She activated the data crystal she carried, projecting the evidence they had recovered from the archives, the council meeting that had sealed Earth's fate, the cold calculations, the fear-driven genocide. Your ancestors destroyed our homeworld, not because we threatened them, but because they feared what we might become. Maya continued as the recordings played. They murdered billions based on predictions and possibilities. The Archon watched the ancient recordings, four eyes unblinking. When they finished, she turned back to Maya, her expression inscrutable to human eyes. If you've come for an apology, human, you have wasted your time. What was done was necessary, even if the execution was regrettably thorough. Maya felt Dax tense beside her, but maintained her own composure. We didn't come for an apology. We came to deliver a message. She activated a second projection, images of the human fleet hidden beyond Vexari detection range. Hundreds of vessels, many larger and more advanced than anything in the hegemony's current navy. Humanity has returned. We could have struck without warning, as you did to Earth. We could have bombarded your homeworld from orbit. Instead, we chose to face you directly and offer a choice. For the first time, the Archon showed a flicker of uncertainty. What choice? Peaceful coexistence or open conflict, Maya stated simply. Recognition of our right to exist and reparations for Earth's destruction, or war. The expedition fleet you're preparing to launch searching for human survivors. We could destroy it before it leaves orbit. We choose not to, for now. The Archon's four hands clenched and unclenched. You expect me to believe humans would choose peace after what was done to your world? What I believe, Maya replied, is that cycles of violence must end somewhere. 3,000 years ago, your people chose extinction for mine based on fear of what we might become. Today, we choose a different path. A tense silence filled the chamber. Maya could almost see the calculations running behind the Archon's four eyes, assessing threats, weighing options, considering implications. If what you show me is accurate, the Archon finally said, you possess sufficient military power to pose a genuine threat to the hegemony. We do, Maya confirmed without pride or threat in her voice. Yet you claim to want peace. We want justice, Maya corrected, and the assurance that what happened to Earth will never happen again, to any species. The Archon moved to her command console, hands hovering above the controls. I could summon guards, hundreds of them. You would not leave this chamber alive. True, Maya acknowledged, but my death would trigger the assault our fleet is prepared to launch. Is that the legacy you wish to leave? The Archon who finally provoked the war your ancestors feared. Another long silence followed. Maya was acutely aware of Dax beside her, of the immense risk they had taken, of the billions of lives, human and Vexari, hanging in the balance of this moment. Finally, the Archon lowered her hands. What exactly do you propose? A summit, Maya replied. Representatives of humanity and the hegemony, meeting on neutral ground. Acknowledgement of the past. Discussion of the future. The expedition fleet remains in orbit until these talks conclude. And if I refuse? Maya's expression hardened slightly. Then we will defend ourselves, as we should have been able to do 3,000 years ago. The outcome of that conflict is uncertain for both our peoples. The Archon turned back to the holographic display of hegemony space, studying it silently. When she spoke again, her voice carried a weight Maya hadn't heard before. 3,000 years ago, my ancestors made a decision based on fear of the unknown. They chose the certainty of your extinction over the uncertainty of your potential. She turned to face Maya directly. Was it morally wrong? Perhaps. Was it pragmatically justified? The hegemony has survived 50,000 years by eliminating threats before they manifest. And yet here we stand. Maya replied quietly. Indeed. Despite everything, humanity survived and returned, not as the mindless destroyers my ancestors feared, but offering peace while holding strength in reserve. The Archon made a gesture Maya didn't recognize. Perhaps they were wrong about you, or perhaps you have changed during your exile among the stars. We've had 3,000 years to contemplate extinction, Maya said. It gives one perspective. The Archon approached her command console again, this time activating it. Maya tensed, but instead of summoning guards, the alien ruler opened a secure communication channel. This is the High Archon. The expedition fleet is hereby ordered to stand down. All vessels will maintain orbital position until further notice. She closed the channel and turned back to Maya. Your summit will happen. I will personally represent the hegemony. Maya felt a wave of emotion she struggled to contain, not triumph or vindication, but something more complex, the weight of 3,000 years of exile finally finding purpose. I will inform our council, she replied formally. Neutral coordinates will be transmitted through secure channels. The Archon made a gesture of acknowledgement. There is one more thing, human. The truth of what happened to Earth has been hidden from most of my people for millennia. If these talks proceed, that truth must emerge. There will be resistance from many quarters. Truth is often difficult, Maya agreed, but necessary for healing to begin. Healing. The Archon repeated the word as if testing its meaning. An interesting concept to apply to relations between our species. Maya prepared to depart, reactivating her stealth systems. Before disappearing completely, she offered one final thought. 3,000 years ago, the Vexari feared what humanity might become. Perhaps it's time to discover what our species might become together. As they made their way back through the complex to their extraction point, guided by Callan, and covered by their stealth technology, Maya found herself reflecting on the enormity of what had just transpired. Generations of humans had lived and died in exile, nursing the wound of Earth's destruction, planning for this moment of confrontation. Yet when it came, vengeance had given way to something else, something that honored their lost homeworld not by destroying another, but by breaking a cycle of fear 3 millennia in the making. Outside, in the violet light of the Vexari sunrise, Maya paused to look back at the towering spires of the alien capital. For the first time in 3,000 years, humanity stood revealed to those who had tried to eradicate them. What would come next? Peace or war? Reconciliation or continued conflict? Remained uncertain. But one thing was clear. The future would no longer be dictated by the fears of the past. Humanity had not just survived. They had maintained their essential humanity even in the face of extinction. And in doing so, perhaps they had become exactly what the universe needed, not the destroyers the Vexari had feared, but builders of a bridge across an abyss 3,000 years wide. Commander, Dax interrupted her thoughts. Extraction vehicle approaching. Time to go. Maya nodded and turned away from the alien skyline. The journey that had begun with Earth's destruction had reached a crucial juncture, but it was far from over. There would be difficult negotiations ahead, resistance on both sides, ancient wounds that might never fully heal. But today, for the first time since humanity had looked up at the stars and seen not wonder but the approaching engines of their destruction, there was something new on the horizon.